Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of the Might and Mercy podcast. I'm your Game Master, Toby, and I'm joined today by the wonderful Matt.
Hello, this is Matt playing Ravenna.
Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I play Fitzroy.
And Yehuda.
I'm Yehuda, and I play King Pharamond the Mighty.
For another exciting episode of Might and Mercy. Today, we're actually just talking and easing into the continuation of our story. We're excited to get on with this tale in 2024, and we hope you are eager to continue to listen. It's nice to be back. We've been gone for a while. We hope you've all had a good start of 2024, and we wish you all the health and happiness you can find this year. And of course, a lot of joy in gaming, whether you're playing or listening to us or anyone else play, of course. Now, we don't have any announcements. We're still waiting for those sponsors. So I think it's time for us to start this player talk for Might and Mercy. Gentlemen, welcome back. It's good to see everyone here again. It's not like we've been talking for half an hour backstage before going live right now. But I think first order of question. Let's just go around the room, starting with Fitzroy, and get a quick introduction of this new character.
Well, I mean, I'm sure everyone's listened to the previous podcast, but I'm happy to give a quick introduction. I am playing Fitzroy. He is a gnome occultist, very short, much shorter than most gnomes. He is an interesting character, let's just say that. There's some stuff that even he doesn't remember about himself because it's been a while. So I'm easing into the occultist, which is a very different way of playing.
Yeah, some interesting moments in the pre-game for sure. Yeah,
it was very cool listening to your episode, by the way, to see the kind of powers you use.
You're welcome.
Yehuda, what about you, Pharamond?
King Pharamond the Mighty is...
Apologies.
The king. Yeah. The Mighty is actually, it's part of the name. He also is mighty, but it's also his name. His name fits him. And not fits, it fits. And he is the king of a mighty halfling village. It's not a very big village, and not just because everyone there is a halfling. It's not that many people, but that doesn't matter. They're mighty where it counts. And he is on a mission, at least he thought until now that he is on a mission to become the very best. Correction, he is the very best. He is on his quest to prove it.
So I have a question. If the Mighty is part of his name, is King also his first name?
So Pharamond is his middle name?
Well, I'm guessing that King might be his family name, since his father was also called King. But I'll have to ask my aunt and uncle. You see, being a king, you have to deal with a lot of big picture stuff, so often the finer details of things I have my advisors help me with.
This is going to be great.
Of course it is.
I have this image now of your advisors just being like a chicken and a pig and other farmyard animals, right?
It's actually mostly his aunt who has learned...
Hey, what about the big dragon?
Yes, there is also the dragon. As I mentioned, all the smaller details. Pharamond tends to focus on the big picture stuff, so he'll often not pay attention to details. Yes, he's also friend of a dragon because...
What's the dragon's name?
It is somehow his great grandfather / uncle. And
you
his
can add
name.
a couple of grades there, given that halflings live like 50 years.
Oh, is that it? They may be small years, but they're mighty years. The dragon is okay. I have some dragon names here. It's Syraxius,
That's
not
correct.
to be confused with Vortisilix or Saralach, which I'm not even sure is a dragon. But Saralach is Lord of the Valley of Skulls. I'm guessing he's a bad guy. Anyway, Pharamond
Doesn't know.
His main strength is his strength. So details and things that's not up his alley. He's not stupid. He's probably pretty clever if he'd only take the time to actually stop and think.
Well, it's a good thing he and Fitzroy have already met. I think they're a match made in heaven. What about you, Matt?
Okay, I'm playing Ravenna, who I've on the fly now renamed Ravenna the Merce, so that this can be the Merce and the Mighty podcast. The Mighty and Merce. Okay. I'm playing Ravenna, who's an Elven Ranger, probably because ever since I was a teenager, I wanted to play an Elven Ranger in a game, but was too self-conscious to actually go ahead and do it. So now I've done it. I'm committed. Ravenna comes from an Elven tribe who lives along the Breachlands, in other words, the place where the previous demons breached out, and there's a constant war going on, and they're historically were too stubborn or refused to leave, whereas many of their other elven kin went on to other cities. So she grew up in this wasteland. She's not exactly a drow elf, but her people have this very dark grayish skin, and I've described her with a shock of white hair. She's been serving in the Breachwatch military, this sort of coalition of forces that hold back the demons, for her 20-year service, because the people in her tribe typically serve 20 years with one of the icons. It's a little unclear, so not quite a feudalistic approach, but they are paying penance or serving this icon. So that means she's a very military character who grew up in a very sort of rough wilderness area. That means she's not so excited and happy living in big towns and stuff like that. She's always ready to just tramp back out into the wilderness. She doesn't hate towns. They're good for parties. They're good because that's where the soft, squishy diplomats and politicians live. And she understands there's reasons for them, but she doesn't really understand what they do or why. She's much happier out on the road, scouting, leading a troop, scouting for a troop. And in her years of service, 20 years, which isn't so much for an elf, but long for humans, she has trained up the troops for preparation for heading into the Breachwatch. She's acted as the bodyguard for a sorcerer commander who was sort of her patron. And she was killed in some betrayal by demons a year or so ago. So she's on the hunt for revenge. She was about to muster out from her 20 years in service, and at the last minute, she hears about a new breach coming up, and her good buddy Rafa Velastar, or her boss / buddy, convinces her to sign on, get aboard this floating airship, which was probably one of the most fun things she's done in a long time, and she's now flying towards danger, with the mission of supporting the other troops under the Righteous Hammer icon, and she's looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. She, from a gameplay perspective, she's probably sort of the opposite of my previous character, who was trying to avoid fights and didn't do a very good job of it and wanted just to protect everyone. She is happy jumping with a sword, with a bow. Her current mission, though, is to find the demon that killed her sorcerer commander and get revenge.
So where is she right now?
She is either on board this wild, interesting fantasy airship, or sort of parachuting, whatever you call that, into dangerous territories around Greenhaven to support the poor local troops who are huddled up trying to survive the demon attacks.
Which brings us to another interesting question. So that's where Ravenna is. Fitzroy, Pharamond, where are the two of you at the moment?
Oh, if memory serves correct, we are hiding in a barn, or a structure within the dome of where this rift has happened and these demons are flowing out. And unfortunately, my job is to go into where this rift is and try and find some information for the goal, which is this organization that I work for in the Outer World, I believe.
Overworld.
Overworld, not Outer World. Overworld. Called General Oversight Alliance Liaison. And at least I think that's what we settled on in the end. For goal, we were trying to desperately make something fit into that acronym. And it's my job, after being sent down, to try and figure out why the fates have not flown correctly and people are in the wrong place. So we have to head into danger.
2 people, right?
2 people, yes. It's been a mix-up. And of course, Pharamond is with me.
Of course.
Yes.
Pharamond is hiding?
No, absolutely not. Pharamond apparently is also in the wrong place because there was supposed to be a contest going on in Gold Meadows. And it looks like there's something else going on. And if I recall correctly, Pharamond was at this point going to try and get answers out of Fitzroy to the pressing question of what is going on.
Yes. I don't think you'd understand the answers, so we'll see.
Are you saying that in character or?
No, I'd have to say it with an annoyingly whiny voice.
Oh man, character voices. I had a great time listening to both of your episodes, and like Pharamond's voice is amazing, and I can really see Chris's. And then I listened to the start of my episode and realized I do not have the voice of a grizzled elven woman ranger. I'm not a good enough voice actor to do that, so it would require a lot of imagination from our listeners.
I thought this was your character voice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is it? Okay, well, good. That makes life easy.
This warrior that spent a lot of time smoking cigars and drinking whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a tough female ranger. Hoorah!
No.
Okay, I'm not going to do that.
What was it from? What was this? What was the show about Vietnam? TV
MASH.
show. Yeah, that was Korea. No, there was this. The opening.
You mean Good Morning Vietnam?
No,
that
that was
movie?
a movie. The opening tune was the Rolling Stones song, right? I Want to Paint It Black. It was this television show from the 80s and the 90s. No? Oh, Anyway.
Netherlands only broadcast, obviously.
Yeah, because, that's historically significant to us as a nation.
Click here for a link. No? Are we not?
All right, do it now. Now, do we want to know what that TV show is called? Now we want to know what
Tour of Duty, maybe?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. See,
I cheated.
I looked already on his phone. There. Too bad. Yeah, Tour of Duty. That was an intense. I think that's kind of like Ravenna's life up until now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For 20 years, Breachwatch for 20 years.
Yeah, when Toby was describing this to me, I was thinking, military, feudal, soldiers at nights. He's like, no, imagine like flights of dragons, think of air support, think of modern mixed military, mixed arms. Like this is what's going on there. Like, okay, so now it changed my view of Ravenna to be a bit more around like a scout and maybe a kind of a tactical commander trying to find the right approach, because there's nothing Ravenna likes more than an unfair fight. Hopefully unfair on her side, but she's fine if it's unfair against her too. She'll go for it. But then let's thinking about Pharamond, and Pharamond probably just running in and hitting everything with axes. I'm really curious to hear how this plays out.
A sword, but yes.
Sword, okay.
It's
Yeah,
a
tell
but
us
also-
more about Pharamond's sword.
Like, I can imagine me saying, all right, so we're going to plan this and we're going to do this. And then Pharamond just goes.
when I was listening to your previous episode, Ravenna, where they're laying out the rules for this challenge, and my immediate thought was that if Pharamond was faced with such a challenge, like the moment they'd start telling him like, okay, the rules for the challenge, and then he'd go, I accept.
Yeah, I was pretty much looking for the moment, like, when's the first moment I can just draw the sword and attack? And I was like, I was trying to actually get the jump on them, but Toby didn't let me get away with it. So I hesitated too long, I guess.
So, the Pharamond Fitzroy, Chris Yehuda, do you recall this airship flying over or in
Yes.
or not? Yeah? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember if it was inside our bubble or not, the dome, but I do recall as we were heading for the city, we already saw this giant airship.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was told to be on the other side of the dome. I just had very short legs.
You're inside the dome and you were supposed to be outside of it.
Well, I mean, I was communicating with the overworld, and they said they were unhappy that I was inside the dome. Put it that way. Oh well.
But that's the direction we're headed in.
This is true. But I think it's particularly dangerous inside the dome.
So
And
I'm trying to get a sense of what's your mission. Like, you're inside the dome and you're trying to get some place to research what's happening with these two people.
So part of goals purview, what we do is think of it as a terrible office with terrible meetings. Accounting. Yeah, I'm an accountant. And the numbers, they don't add up because we have someone whose soul, for lack of a better word, is in one place and it should be somewhere else, and someone's not where they should be. So the accountant has to go down and do some investigation and try and figure out how this has all happened. And I am very much like a office worker who's just been dumped into a field and told, go and talk to a prisoner or fight some kind of horrible beast.
Love it.
He's
not what
trying
I'm used to.
So hard to like be clumsy. It's very endearing.
So we're straight out of the laundry files, basically. This is going to be great. So click the link for the affiliate link.
So,
but then he's blasting magic.
Well, I mean, it's not magic. So an occultist, not despite the name, is a little bit more of a fate weaver in this aspect, in that they
hang
can
on one
see
second.
the
For
threads.
anyone listening to this and thinking we're talking about D&D, we're talking about 13th Age as a system. The occultist doesn't exist in D&D, but
No,
does exist in 13th Age.
Yeah. So you can see the threads of what's happening in a battle, and you can. Yeah, the occultist is reactive, so quite a lot of the skills that you use are not like, oh, I use this spell and attack. On my turn, I will use a focus and try and focus on the battle and see the threads of what's moving. And then when certain things happen, I can use a skill to change it, to help you, to hinder someone else.
Like when I roll a critical hit on one of you.
I mean,
I'm glad you're here.
It's a
Fitzroy.
self-defense character. He's created one specifically in the event that Matt does what Matt does best, There's not a
Yeah.
campaign that I've played with Matt where he hasn't killed one of the PCs. I think it's kind of like probably most comparable to holding an action, right? The focus mechanic is I can do something right now, but it reverts or it waits for specific triggers, and I'm going to hold, but you don't have to define the trigger. So I think it could be something like one of your party members is hit by an enemy, and then you can force a reroll or roll something to increase or decrease the armor class or the 2-hit roll, right?
Yeah, or things like you miss your attack, and then I can tug on these fate chords and make it so that you don't miss and the enemy takes damage. But it's psychic damage, so even though you miss, I use the skill and they still believe they've taken damage because it's something that's happened in the fates. But also things like, you're using a recovery, for example. I can allow you to use that recovery, get some bonuses, and then still have an attack and things like that. So the downside is while I'm focused or when I'm getting focused, I get opportunity attacks. So if I'm standing next to someone, then I start to focus and they smash me in the face.
Does that mess up your focus?
No, it doesn't mess up the focus, but it does hurt.
Okay.
Not like he has a gazillion hit points, yeah.
No, exactly. Because I forgot that hit points go up when you go up levels. No, I didn't. But some of us might have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For any listeners out there, if you hear mechanical errors during a game, yes, please tell us about them in the comments. It's not like I'm making mechanical errors all the time, and I want to know about them so I can fix them the next game, please.
Speaking of mechanical errors, how's your character math? Let's start with character levels. What level are we at?
4.
5.
5.
Yeah, I think I also told you to level up after the last game.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
We were tired. It was just before holidays.
Christmas.
Level 5. Awesome. I will go to level 5.
So what does it mean for hit points?
Level. Each level, or what are you asking what our current hit points are?
No, I'm asking what level 5 means for hit points. There's a multiplication factor there.
I will
And it's
have to
not
look that up
5,
in
I
the
think.
book. No, it's...
It's
I always have to look this stuff in the book because the tables are not intuitive
for
to
it.
me yet.
I think
All right.
from on level 4 it goes up to 5 to hit dice, so I'm guessing it's 7 hit dice. Or 8. 12.
It's definitely not 12.
Looking at my character sheet, I have my previous one as well, where I leveled up from 4 to 5. It looks like I went up 20 hit points. But I might be misreading this.
This also means we're at champion tier, which is pretty great. Champion tier is fabulously interesting.
So now it means all of our magical items are underpowered. Because magical items don't grow with you, right?
But you have like plus 1 or something. Like, I mean,
Okay, so
still something. It's not nothing.
Yeah.
So from 4 to 5, you get sort of a double hit point boost. That's good. So you get, for me, it's times 8.
Times 8.
So it's 1080. Wow, nice. Okay, might have made it through my intro session if I'd had 80.
What about hit die?
Hit dice or recovery rolls?
Hit. How many?
Oh, to hit.
How many
to hit,
damage
yeah.
dice do you roll?
I don't think that
5.
changed.
5.
Let's see.
5.
Weapon dice times level plus. Hey, you can keep rolling like one weapon die for sure, but in this game, because the monsters have like 1,000 hit points or something.
Okay, but that just goes up to the 5 times the weapon, right? So, yep.
Yeah, it's level.
Yeah. So, for me, in my case, mine would go up to 5d8, or depending on the weapon I'm using. Yeah.
I think
Or 48.
there's a point like after level 5 where we get to level 6 and 7 where you kind of need to make the decision: how many dice are you rolling and how many dice are you averaging? I think it just becomes easier to say, okay, I'm taking the average of 4 plus 1 roll, or the average of 3 plus rolling 2, instead of having to roll at the end of this. You'll be rolling 10. That's a lot of math.
Assuming we don't die
We need to
beforehand.
decide how we're going to do that. I'm fine either way. It's up to you.
For me, I also then get an additional champion feat and an additional class talent. That would be good. Oh, damage bonus, and my damage bonus goes up as well. So, okay, it's good.
Yeah, double.
That means I need to go read the champion feats. That'll be tough. There's a lot of cool choice. There's a lot of cool choices to make in 13th Age for these feats, and it's tough to choose between them because so many of them are very cool.
Why don't we each just quickly go through like one of our coolest feats or talents? Maybe start with Pheromond.
Okay, the obvious choice of my most interesting feat is Rage, because like, oh yes, he's a barbarian, so of course he goes into Rage. But which is really the best? Yeah, I guess I'll say Rage is interesting, because it's once again not it's not like D&D, where Rage I think just gives you like a bonus to attacks. Rage gives you advantage, plus a much higher chance of getting a critical.
What's the
So
crit expansion on Rage?
Right. So when you roll advantage, if both dice, both of them would hit on their own, and both of them are at least an 11, right? So if both hit, but one of them's a 10, so no. So if both of them hit and they're both 11, it's a critical. And in our games, as we all remember from someone getting hit with a critical in a really bad time, for crits, not only do we double the damage dice, but we assume the dice were all at their highest, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope, that is absolutely correct.
Right. So
There's
if
a
my damage,
huge payoff both ways.
yeah, just to give the numbers, my normal hits with my awesome sword is 5d10, 5d10 plus 11. So this would be 111 damage from a single hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are the
You don't need-
downsides of this raging?
It's just such a shame that we don't have the druid anymore in bear form with behemoth aspect.
I'm sure. I hope we'll get a guest appearance sometime.
Never say never. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
So-
brutal.
Yeah. Rage is once a day, at the end of which I have to roll at least a 16 constitution check or save to see if it recharges. However, when the escalation die is at 4 or above, I can rage for free.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah. I really like this about 13th Age is that, certain rolls, certain numbers on rolls have certain effects. And it's been a pretty neat insight, right? That on a 16 plus or, on an even roll or an odd roll, something triggers or happens. You have to do a bit more mental tracking, but it also adds a lot of flavor to the different builds, I think. That's a cool feat, thanks. Chris, what about you?
So Fitzroy has a feat or a talent called Otherworldly Shadow. I think we mentioned it in one of the play sessions, but effectively his shadow doesn't always go where it should do. Sometimes he'll move and the shadow will stay where it is for a second before it follows, and sometimes he'll be standing still and the shadow will slowly move across the room. So it kind of has a life of its own.
And Ravenna is standing here in the corner saying, very useful, Fitzroy.
Very useful. It's amazing. But what it does do is once per day, I can my shadow can prevent all damage from one enemy's attacks. So imagine a dragon decides to attack me. I could use my otherworldly shadow to take all of the damage from multiple attacks from that enemy and take no damage at all.
How many hit points does it have, or how does it work?
No, just no damage.
So it just takes no damage from every
Yep.
attack from that turn from that enemy?
From one enemy. It could be a mook, so a bunch of people. That's classed as one enemy. So all of the mooks would not do any damage, or it could be one specific enemy, like some kind of horrible dragon.
He's like that dude in the Avengers that can like freeze time and run through the entire battle.
More like the shadow jumps in front of it, and I just cower like a accountant who's being attacked by a dragon.
That's pretty damn cool. So,
but it also has
switch off. Like it doesn't end. You pick the enemy, and that's
for the rest of that round.
For the entire round, or
for the entire round?
For one round, okay.
For one round, yes.
So you could survive dragon breath.
And you can choose it when it hits you, right?
Yep. So it's a reactive.
Recall it.
Every round.
Nope, once a day. Once a day, I can use that. All damage and effects. So
you do that, and that's when you say, okay, I think it's time we retreat.
Yeah, usually.
So it can save you from a crit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's great.
Would have been useful.
Only if Ravenna goes all weird and starts trying to kill us. That would never happen. But,
well, she's lived around demons all her life. She's immune, obviously, to any sort of corruption. Really.
Yeah, so that's kind of one of the skills.
Cool. But any other cool thingies?
Oh yeah, there's also one very much like Call of Cthulhu style, brain melting secrets. It's like, so when you do certain types of damage, psychic damage, which is pretty much all the damage that I do is psychic damage, unless I stab someone with my very tiny little knife. These horrible images flash in their mind, and they can't attack me unless I'm the only enemy nearby, which didn't particularly help in the one-on-one run-throughs.
Interesting thing about that, right? You found it not as effective against the enemies you faced as you would have expected it to be.
Yeah. Yes. Especially as the enemies we were fighting do quite like horrific images flashing through their mind, I imagine. It's
that's why they don't attack you. Do it again. Do it again.
Do it again.
Because you have otherworldly secrets, right? You've seen something that other people haven't.
Yeah.
But there's something there for you to discover, maybe if you're going to for you as a player to discover, but also for Fitzroy to discover what other
there's a lot for Fitzroy.
There are.
There's a lot for Fitzroy to discover. Yes.
What about you, Ravenna?
So I think Ravenna as a ranger has several feats that kind of team up to boost the crit range. Like the favored enemy, plus there's like a lethal tracker, like you're choosing an enemy that you're gonna have a boosted crit range on. So I'm also going kind of like Fairmont for a fast, easy, hopefully crit range now. If I'm doing it right, I can get crit ranges of like 15, 14 and above. Now, knowing Matt, I only roll 14 and above 1 out of 10 times, so that's not going to come up very often. But it looks
Dice
good on
math is different.
It looks good on paper.
Math, yeah.
If you listen to our previous podcast. However, I think the one that I think is more fun is this elven talent called Teleport. And I think it fits into Ravenna's, like what keeps Ravenna alive is this philosophy of being in the right place at the right time for the best advantage. And that's all around scouting and this and that and preparation. But the teleport obviously fits into that vibe of, well, the right place at the right time is actually 15 feet over there. Now, when I first read it, I thought it would let me teleport anywhere within sight. In the gameplay with our first gameplay with Toby, he helped me understand, clarify that it's actually nearby. So that's, like a movement range or something like that. So I was originally imagining like, okay, now I'm up on top of this cliff shooting arrows at you. Yes, but it's not quite that cool. But it synergized really nicely unexpectedly nicely in the first round with the chameleon armor, which is, if I'm holding still, I just blend into the background. So suddenly I could say, well, I need to be over there right now, and I'm holding still, and they don't know where I am, hopefully. That was a nice little move. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play with the teleport once per day, to just kind of take this approach of right time, right place. How does, this is a bad situation, I need to be here instead, things like that. So I look forward to that one.
So this chameleon armor is a magical item you have.
Yeah,
right?
it's a magical item. Yeah.
Plastic.
No, it's just a magical item that I have. And I thought it would be
established that these items are underpowered, right? So chameleon armor is useless right now. Level 5.
Oh. Okay, so once you go up a tier, all your old items are.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, thank goodness.
The dungeon master giveth, and the dungeon master taketh away.
Yeah. I thought that might be canon or something.
We're playing Elden Ring with the wretch.
Yeah.
You
There's
start
another
off with a loincloth and like a bone pick.
Yeah, but the chameleon armor is just a magic item that lets me blend in. So, and I took it because, hey, this is useful for a scout. This is very, but then it worked really well with teleport, which is cool. There's one other one that I think we need to experiment, because it's more of a game playing talent. It's more like a storytelling talent that can be useful. And inside the tracker feat for Rangers is this ability to do like an improvisational game in play-wise, terrain stunt, they call it. It's like, because the wilderness or the area so well, you can just pull off some cool trick that maybe nobody would have predicted, and it gives me some improvisational control over the environment too. Like, oh, hey, look, there's a beehive over on that person's above that person's head, and I just knocked it on their head. Let's this person's going to chase me through a big patch of very muddy ground and get slowed down, and other sort of tricks like that. So it's not a really mechanical advantage, but I hope that we can use that for some really creative improvisational creativity in the game.
The rule of cool. Right?
Yes, exactly. Like, say I have the rule of cool built into my character sheet with the tracker feat, right? So
very nice.
There's quite a lot to unpack with these new characters. Final question: what's your wisdom score, Matt? On the character.
In the early editions of Ravenna, it was 14, but I prioritized charisma because I was thinking of her as cool, fun-loving party animal, and now my wisdom score is 10. Why do you ask?
No, because your dread score is 50, right? What about you, Yehuda?
see, so you remember the part about Pharamond not paying attention to detail or anything? And
yeah, that's intelligence, right? Not wisdom.
No, intelligence is brain. He's maybe smart, but he's like not paying attention. His wisdom is 8.
Oh.
I'm not the lowest.
No. Right. Or was that just in D&D, where wisdom is awareness?
No. Similar here. What about you, Chris?
I feel bad, but it's twice what Pharamond is. So
wow.
16. So yeah. Sorry.
It's like we're soulmates, where I'm the one who makes dirty dishes and you're the one who washes them, so we complete each other.
Oh my god.
another class feat.
Which means Fitz is stuck washing the dishes in every episode now. Because no one else will. No one else will, and they're just gonna rot. And we can't have ants, so Fitz is gonna do it.
That's how you get ants. Yeah.
Love it. Any final thoughts on the new season?
very exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
I'd like to take another run at the montage stuff. I think we struggled with that when we tried to do it in season 1. I think it's a really cool 13th stage story technique to kind of move between scenes. And I want to keep working on it. Well, yeah, it's straightforward on paper, and still, I feel like we didn't take advantage. We didn't make it as fun and cool and interesting as it could be. So I'd like to see us improve that, just from a storytelling perspective.
I like that.
Yep, agreed.
There's also the icons, which I don't think we ever really fully figured out how we use them.
Nobody has, so that's fine.
Yeah.
The icon roles, yeah. I think we had a discussion about it, right? We were going to try and change up some of the way we do it, so see if it works better.
Right. We needed to just involve them more in the story, I think, which is what's happening now.
You know,
we have
one icon.
Right.
Yeah.
You focus
which
on
makes it simpler. Yeah.
But I'm saying the
Positive.
icons have agents, which are actual characters, right? We saw in Ravenna's previous episode how you're actually dealing with agents of icons. So having icon points, icon roles can mean you can get favors from these icons rather than, oh yes, I have 3 points with the monarch.
Not only are you
So I happen to have a health
agents,
potion.
One of you is an agent for an icon, so
Tell me.
Well, not me. You've heard my episode. I failed my test to become an agent for an icon. So
For a
there's still
different
names for the
icon.
icon, but just very low level. One of you is very highly placed in one of the organizations related to an icon.
If you need help with your icon accounting, I am available. This is why I have a charisma of 8, because I am very annoying. So,
okay,
Somehow
what's Fitzroy's? What's Fairmont's charisma?
A charisma is 11, but I do have a ring of glory, which I got from my great dragon father.
What does it do?
It gives me an aura of status. It doesn't actually do anything, but I have this aura. It's a visible aura. Like you see me walking by,
cool.
and you actually
You
see
look
it.
like a king.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I love it.
point of order for all of you, right? Because Tapuk had a similar ring, I think, or a cloak or something. If you don't bring that up to my attention in a social situation, right, where it's like the PC responds in some way to you, and you're like, well, and you don't tell me like, hey, but wait a minute, I have this ring of glory that makes me look really cool to whoever looks at me. I can't work with it because I can't remember all of those details. So just keep in mind that if you want that to be material, rather, if you just want it on your character sheet because you like the way the letters look on the paper, that's fine. But if you actually want that to be material, you have to bring it up in conversations with me, just to make sure that I remember, and then I can flex with that. With those kinds of things.
That came up actually in ours because I was using my goal badge as some
I
kind
completely
of thing.
didn't register.
Yeah. So
You were flashing that thing the entire episode, right? And
yeah. I mean, what I forgot was so effectively there's a magical item called the Cloak of Gold where it looks really shabby and drab and nasty, but then only those who are like really righteous or particularly or evildoers and servers of the dark power see it as a glowing cloak. I have that, but in badge form because it's easier for a small person to hide. But effectively, it looks shiny to the right people. To everyone else, it's just a drab, scratched up piece of metal with goal written on it, which is not particularly interesting. So, yeah, more of a mechanic for gaming as opposed to something that's really useful.
We realized, like at the end of 2 games, it was like, oh wait, hang on, there was a reason he was showing it to everyone.
To be honest, even if it was a drab, horrible badge with gold written on it, I still would have waved it around like it was something important. So,
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess just question, and then we're gonna wrap this up. what do you want out of the next 4 episodes, Chris?
2 things. I want to have fun and not be stabbed to death by Raven.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
That's true.
This is true.
Very true,
This is
actually.
true. No,
Matt,
but
what about you?
I'm excited.
I want to stab Fitzroy to death, and that's yeah. I think I really want to get into this, like, just get into this kind of dangerous territory, meet these crazy people, and Ravenna, I think, is happiest when she's in dangerous territory, right? She's a thrill seeker, right? So I just want to have fun with that storytelling and get into trouble, and hopefully do some good planning, which Matt as a player is not so good at, and have some fun fights. And wait, I'm talking all about the fights. I also want to kind of discover the story aspects, right? I want to see like what Faramond is looking for, what Fitz is going for. I want to figure out what the hell happened to the people of Greenhaven. And one little secret, I'm hoping that I find some of Sibyll's rat statues.
Oh.
Matt is. Ravenna doesn't know about them.
Yehuda?
I think a lot of times when you ask me what I want, and I'm always like, wait, are you asking me or are you asking me as my character? But I think our goals align here. I would like to see Faramond become some sort of how am I going to say this right?
God.
No.
God King.
I said become.
Oh,
right.
Sorry.
No,
he was going to be the Highlander, but then he decided not to run from battle. So.
No, but Faramond does see himself as some hero from a story. So I wouldn't necessarily want to see him as a hero, as in like superhero hero, but like a hero in the sense of someone with growth, and in his case, I guess that would mean seeing that things are not all about him.
No.
Yeah, I'm interested in a good story. That's what I'm after.
We're
Nice.
on the right place here. Let's see if we can deliver that. Thanks everyone for tuning in, listening. If you're watching live, counter is still at 0, so I doubt it.
Wait, I'll open another browser window.
Right.
And otherwise, if you're watching this on the rerun, we try to play every Tuesday, but the way this is going to be scheduled is we're going to play chapters, so we'll play them out, record them, but there might be breaks in between as we plan out the next legs of our session, and we all have careers and jobs and busy lives outside of our Tuesday evening game nights. But we look forward to sharing the story with you in the coming year as we have last year. Thanks for watching. Take good care of yourself. Remember, you're good enough the way you are, and wherever you are, we hope you're doing well. See you next week.
And as they say at Goal, Hakuna Matata.